Welcome to the Help Her Be Brave podcast show, where we have great ideas on how you can help save lives. I'm Amy Ford.
And I'm Jessica Russo.
And today we are talking with my friend Tina Whittington with Students for Life. I just love how they are boots on the ground with all of these universities and helping empower students that are pro-life to create small groups and not only just talk about being pro-life, but actually being the action and the answer and coming up with creative ideas of how they can help their communities and how they can just get more involved in the movement in itself. And they do practical things that helping their local pregnancy resource center, helping Embrace Grace groups in their area. But then they're also just training them on how to talk about it, how to debate about it, but in a honoring way and to find their why. It's really, really cool. They're pretty amazing. They're pretty amazing. They're really big too. It's just really awesome what they're doing. All right, Tina, I'm so excited you're here today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I just love what you guys are doing as Students for Life. And I know my son, Jess, he even got to participate a little bit when he was in college. He just graduated and it kind of ended with, I think he started it a little bit at his senior year, which was the COVID year. So I don't know that he got to do a whole lot, but he was the president of his Students for Life group at Oral Roberts University. And I just think it's so awesome, all that you're doing. But first, let's back it up a little bit. Why are you passionate about pro-life, or what really got you involved in the movement?
Yeah. So just for reference for me, so I've actually been working at Students for Life for 10 years, but I've been involved in the movement for 20, doing different things at various times, whether it was when I was married, then with kids, and just, how seasons of life make your involvement in things kind of shift around a little bit. But I actually became a Christian when I was 13. I was invited to church, and there was an altar call, being raised in a secular pro-choice home. I think, and being a child of divorce, there was something that really called to me with the church and the stability and God the Father. So I gave myself and my life to the Lord, got baptized, and it wasn't until high school that our youth minister did a presentation on abortion. So he went through scriptures, and we actually saw the Leonard Nilsson pictures. We heard a tape of Carol Everett, who owned abortion facilities in Texas, and I went into that meeting pro-choice, and mostly for exceptions, the mother and rape and incest and all the bad things. But I came out of it oh my gosh, abortion is so terrible. It's evil. It definitely ends the life of an innocent human being.
Wow.
But I really didn't know what to do about it because, I was hearing things like 60 million babies. And I was like, I'm one person. And so I was convicted immediately that I needed to do something, but I didn't do anything because I didn't know what to do and I didn't know how to get involved. And actually, about 3 weeks after that presentation, I was in the locker room at my high school and heard two girls talking about how one of them was pregnant and was going to get an abortion. And my heart was beating. So I was like, I need to do something. I need to say something, but I didn't know what to do or say. And so I just prayed. And I think that really was pivotal for me, in that I knew I wanted to learn and figure out how to do something about this. And so anyway, in college, I met my husband, who was doing a ministry called Rock for Life. And he's the first one that showed me, you could pray in front of an abortion facility and do sidewalk counseling and register people to vote and do all these different things. So I think, like you said, it was when I recognized that human life has value, that abortion ends the life of an innocent human being, really gave me passion. But it wasn't until I met my husband that I found out if you could even do anything about it. So that's why I love Students for Life. I wish I could go back to my 16-year-old self and go, here are all the things you can do. And this is a pregnancy center. And this is how you talk to people, which is why I'm so passionate about Students for Life. Because we're really going back to myself and my own story. We're equipping these young students who are passionate about this issue to actually be able to engage on it.
Yeah, I love that. And so it's because I'm sure you probably felt so alone. You didn't really know anyone else to reach out to that was passionate about pro-life as well, especially at that age. And so having a community of people that are like-minded and can network and know the resources in the community and all of that. I know even with us at Embrace Grace, a lot of your Students for Life groups around the nation send us a lot of Dear Brave Girl letters, which are our letters that go inside our love boxes that are distributed to pregnancy centers to be given to girls with unexpected pregnancies to inspire hope decision. So they send us by like a big
Like
packages.
huge package.
Yeah, they come in the mail and they're, of course we read them to make sure they're good, and they always are. Y'all have such great kids that that are like young world changers, which I love. And everything that I listen to a little bit more this year with politics and stuff, and with the election year. Well, this will be airing actually a little bit into next year, but I have listened to a couple of different people that are working with the college campuses. And there's one guy, Charlie Kirk, that sometimes I listen to, and he just talks about how that a lot of times it's kind of like brainwashing. And even my son, Jess, who went to an extremely spiritual, very spirit-filled college, Oral Roberts University, he said that in one of his classes that they were like, stand up if you are pro-life, and then sit down if you are pro-life except for if there's rape. And almost everyone but like one person sat down. And so it's hard, this next generation. It's so important to be talking about them with the value of life. And Jess, my son, was just talking about how he really feels like it's super close. His generation, they're so social justice driven. And he's like, if we can change the narrative about pro-life to be a social justice issue, which I know we're working on, and a lot of us organizations are doing that. He's like, I feel like our generation can get behind this and to really get excited about getting involved in the movement. Do you see that as well with all of your students?
Yeah, I think that this is a very compassionate and empathetic generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's why the abortion movement plays on that, with like the rape and the incest and life of the mother. And I call it misplaced compassion. These students who are generally against abortion, or at least that personally pro-life, but wouldn't want to make it illegal or wouldn't want to take away another person's choice. They've really played into, the other side has really played into that idea of compassion and, well, this is the more compassionate choice, or this person deserves more compassion than the person who's still in the womb, or whatever it is. So I do think, hoping or opening their eyes so that they can see that compassion is the life choice. And here is how and why it's the most compassionate choice. It's a big part of what we do on campuses when we bring, we talk about what are the resources available. Do you know the baby that's aborted? Every baby that's aborted has a heartbeat already. Like those are things like tying it home for them that this is a real, actual human being that deserves dignity, value, respect, and life.
Yeah. And even your story with just going into one class and, one conversation can change someone's mind, and to know all the facts behind this issue is eye-opening, because the media doesn't really want to talk about the hard stuff and the ugly stuff behind this, and even just the amazingness of life. And
it's all cloaked. Even on college campuses, well, it's reproductive justice. There's a lot of really great words that they use to cloak the horror and violence of abortion, and even words they use to make it look like adoption is a negative thing, or parenting will destroy your life, or they're really good on the other side with the narratives, and like I said, in manipulating to like create this misplaced compassion position. Like, looking back at myself, I understood as someone who had gone through a sexual assault experience. For me, I felt extreme compassion for the woman who'd been raped or incest, and that's what had created a pregnancy. That to me just seemed like it was more compassionate. And like I said, it wasn't until my eyes were open to the humanity and the intrinsic dignity of the human person, as God sees that human person, was also very eye-opening for me, especially coming from a secular home where I had no basis for understanding any kind of like God's purpose for us. Yeah. Just like when he created us, right? He had purpose in the timing. He had purpose in who our parents are. He had purpose in me having hazel eyes and only growing to 5 foot, almost 2 inches tall. Like those were all purpose things. Him making me a woman was a purpose thing. And so really having my eyes open to that was huge. And I think that's also something for this generation too, that there's an intrinsic value to the life that they were given, that every human being's given. There's a reason for all the parts of who they are. Everything that makes them up is reasoned and important and valued.
What if we lived in a world where every woman with an unplanned pregnancy always felt empowered to choose life for her and her unborn baby? Well, get your copy of Help Her Be Brave to discover your place in the pro-life movement and put your passion into action. To order your book and to learn more about the Help Her Be Brave initiative, visit www.helpherbebrave.com.
I love that. And what about, so with your Students for Life groups, we know that, I know for sure that they do the Dear Brave Girl letters, which are amazing. What are other some boots on the ground type things that they're doing or training or educating in their small groups?
Yeah, for sure. So one is, as a Students for Life group on campus, they're trying to make sure they are educated. So we're doing apologetics trainings with them, just so that they're equipped to have all the different kinds of conversations. Because there's the conversation you have with someone who is, persuadable on abortion. There's the conversation you have with someone who maybe is an abortion advocate. Then there's a conversation that you have with someone who's abortion vulnerable or abortion determined. So we try to help them prepare for any kind of conversation that might arise on campus to be able to articulate the pro-life position, the value of life, and even persuade people to come on to our side and convert to being pro-life or to choosing life. And so one of the ways we do that, like I said, is through that educational outreach, tabling, flyering, hosting movie nights, but also we work really hard to create culture change on campus. So it is one, reaching the peers, helping students reach their peers, but it's also helping the students change campus policies, which might mean just so that a girl who finds herself unexpectedly pregnant can look around and just visually see on campus, oh, well, there are diaper decks in the bathrooms. Well, there's a lactation room. What, they offer daycare during finals? Like all these kinds of hints that show her that there is support. Scholarships. We do a lot working with our student groups to create policy change on campuses, because this goes back probably like 12 years ago, where Feminists for Life did a study on campuses. They ended up calling it Perception is Reality, where they pulled people on these different campuses and found that they didn't know that resources were available for pregnant or parenting students. And so if that's the perception, they don't know it, then that's their reality. And so that was instrumental for us to starting our work with policy change on campuses, because we recognize people don't see it, then it doesn't exist for them. And so
right.
those
and
are
so they may be going to get
to
abortions because they have no idea that there's resources right there on their campus. So you guys are putting the word out, I guess, through networking with your students, so students can tell all of the other students, in case someone finds himself unexpectedly pregnant, that, hey, did you know that we have this, and this, and this that our campus offers?
And being an advocate with, sounds like the student body or the school itself, to offer better resources for parenting students.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yep. And then, we also help students understand their rights, because that's a big thing too on a lot of campuses, is that even the administration doesn't know what to do with a pregnant student a lot of times, or a parenting student. And so we help educate them too about like their Title IX rights. Like, you have protections in place, and that, you can utilize those to make sure you don't lose your scholarship, or you don't get kicked off the basketball team, for instance, or whatever it is. So yeah, it's a lot of reaching out, educating the students, changing that culture on campus to be one that is clearly more friendly for pregnant and parenting students. And then connecting to resources, we do a lot of marketing partnerships with pregnancy resource centers. So they can't get on campus to advertise their resources, but we can. And so we'll table on their behalf, we'll put flyers up on their behalf. Sometimes we do magnets, and we put magnets because that's not considered defacing property. So we'll put magnets up around campus with the phone number or whatever it is to make sure that that relationship starts with the student on campus with the Pregnancy Resource Center and not with Planned Parenthood.
Right. That's so good. And then you guys also have, don't you guys have a big annual conference as well?
Yeah, except for this year because of COVID. So last 2020, January 2020, we had about 3,100 people that came. They stayed a day after the March for Life and came to our national summit. So that's our opportunity to get all of our students together. We have adults too and young adults who come, but to train them, equip them, like what's coming up this year, what are the new trends, different aspects. It could be bioethics. It could be, how to talk to someone in crisis. It could be sidewalk advocacy. We hit a whole bunch of different issues.
That is awesome.
Y'all are amazing.
I know, y'all really are. And so, okay, so how can people, or I guess even students, know if they even have a Students for Life campus that is already on their campus, or to start one?
Yeah. So if you go to Students for Life, and that's spelled out FOR, not the number, so studentsforlife.org, there's a map where you can find your regional coordinator. So we have regional coordinators that are our main person on the ground to help in person, which is what is like so much fun about us, is that we have actually human beings on the ground that can help you table for the first time or help you recruit or come onto your campus and do an apologetics training. But you can find your regional coordinator there, and then they can get you connected with, if you have a group already established on campus, make that introduction, or even help you walk through the steps of how to start a group. And the same goes, we do a lot in the community too, helping with organizing students to like 40 Days for Life, or working with Embrace Grace and organizing that. So if you are a church or an organization that wants to get connected with what's happening in your community with young people, again, you can contact your regional coordinator.
Yeah, and you guys are in high schools too, right?
Yep. So we actually are in middle schools. We're in about 30 middle schools, and then high schools and colleges make up the majority. And then we're on some med campuses and law campuses as well.
Wow.
So kind of everywhere we can be, where we can try to make a difference and plant seeds.
Wow.
So incredible. I am doing a mentorship with one of your Students for Life leaders at a college campus in Ohio. And she is like one of my all-time favorite people. And to see the passion in young people about life, like I had no idea that there was even a life movement at that age. I didn't even realize that well into my 30s, but like how incredible that they're making change, impacting, and they want to tell everybody about it. Like I love the excitement and the contagiousness about that. It's just so incredible.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I did a presentation with Cornell University last night, and I talked about finding your why, and how when we hone in on what our why is, it can help us stay motivated. It can give us the power to say yes or no, like a mission statement for an organization. Oh, that falls outside of our mission. That's a no. That falls within our mission. That's a yes. But my why, for why I do this, is because I believe in the power of young people to change culture and change the trajectory of our nation to one that would value life. And that's why I pour so much into what I do here at Students for Life, and the student I'm mentoring and others on our team, because I really do believe that there's something unique about young people and how they're positioned socially, culturally, to really make a transformative impact on our nation.
For sure. Well, I encourage anyone that's listening to definitely check out Students for Life, donate to them, check out, see if there's Students for Life in your communities. And if you know any students and have any friends that are students, I just encourage you to go talk to them about Students for Life and say, hey, would you be interested in starting this at your college campus if there isn't one already, or to get connected to the one that already is. And so, Tina, thank you so much for being on our show today. We love you, and we're so proud of you, and we're cheering you on, and we just love the work that you guys do.
And we love partnering with you. So let's keep doing it, because we're changing things.
Yes. Okay. Thanks so much for being on the show.
I love that Students for Life is such this giant organization, but how they bring it down to like this micro local level, and really empowering students in their community. Like, what can you do? Who can you connect with? How can you empower your community to support life in a real way?
Yeah. And just the younger generation, they have so many pro-choice perspectives that are constantly in their faces, almost so much that they just assume that's the way it needs to be.
Yeah.
And that abortion, I've even had some young girls kind of even look at law as the morality, like, well, abortion is legal, so it can't be that bad, and not, they just not really thinking for themselves. So I love that they're raising up these young leaders that are actually being vocal about being pro-life when there's a lot of resistance, I'm sure, on campuses.
Yeah.
To have that kind of thinking, but yet they're bold and courageous. And like she was talking about tabling, I love that. Setting up tables and let's talk. Really cool.
And so many women who are experiencing an unplanned pregnancy that are contemplating abortion or choosing abortion, it's not because that's what they want to do, but it's what they feel like is their only answer. And so empowering students on college campuses to work with student bodies and the colleges to create an atmosphere that's inviting for a student that is pregnant or parenting, for childcare, a lactation room, like all of these things. It's just one more thing on that checklist to cross out the lie in her head, that fear screaming that abortion is her answer.
Yeah, for sure. And so the more they can be out there networking and talking about what they do, why they do it, and their why, as Tina said, we can help save lives. And so that's really cool.
Yeah.
I encourage anyone that's listening, please connect with Students for Life. They're really amazing. And also, if you want more ideas on how to help women be brave and choose life, check out my new book, Help Her Be Brave, Discover Your Place in the Pro-Life Movement. You can get it on Amazon or embracegrace.com. And then also share this podcast with your friends. This specific episode, or just, we've got tons. If this is your first one you've ever listened to, back it up and listen to some more, because there's been some great ideas thrown out here, amazing people that we've interviewed. And so take a listen and deep dive into all of these ideas, because there might be something that really sparks your heart to make you want to connect and get involved or do something similar, whatever that might look like for you. But just really pray and ask the Holy Spirit, what does He want you to do? Where does He want you to start? And where does He want you to get involved? Because there is a place for you in the pro-life movement. So subscribe to our YouTube, our iTunes, our Spotify, and we'll see you next time.